So hi, my name is Parsim. I'm from Singapore. I've been teaching for over 10 years.
Same, we can't hear.
No?
Tell them.
Am I still not audible?
Yeah. Just speak loud.
Should I raise my voice louder? Does this work?
Yeah.
Does this work now? Okay, cool. All right. Okay, perfect. Okay, so my name is Parsim. I'm from Singapore. I've been teaching for over 10 years now. Still not? Okay, I try to get closer. Okay, I've been teaching maths for over 10 years now. So honestly, this topic, parent pressure versus peer pressure, for almost all teachers, it's very relatable. We experience this almost on a daily basis, right? Okay, so for a start, let's get all our panelists to introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Thuraya. I am a refugee, living my life as a refugee. And this is one reason that's directly attached to the title here, as being a refugee puts a lot of pressure from the parents and from the peers, living like a personal experience. That's why I wanted to speak about it and be part of the panel. I have been in the education field for more than 22 years now. I have also taught different grade levels. In my experience as a teacher, I have witnessed and experienced a lot of students who come to me, and I know that I can just make them easier, make life easier for them just by telling them that you don't need to feel the pressure, because they were running to us, telling us as their educators that we feel this pressure. Part of our mission is to help those kids to ease things and to not just feel this pressure as much. And our panel discussion today, we're going to go through all these experiences together. Thank you.
Closer.
Yeah, up.
No, that's you to push it up.
Yes.
Now it works, right? Okay. So my name is Ute. I come from Germany, and once I started as an architect.
It's not audible.
It's not audible. Very close, so it's better. Okay. Once I started as an architect and run a company with a staff number of 100. Then my husband and I, who run this company, sold this company, and I started my second career as a coach with all my experience as a leader. And I run through this vocational training as a coach, as I already mentioned, and then experience. It's not only for adults, it's also for kids who suffer from stress. And I deepened my knowledge in matters of intuitive painting and of therapeutic and creative writing. And then I learned with my groups how helpful it is to minimize stress and to focus and to gain clarity. Also for kids, and I have to mention also for teachers. And today I would like to introduce these methods within our discussion on this panel. Thank you.
Good afternoon again, everyone. Good afternoon. Great. So my name is Samita. I am from Singapore, like Parsim, and I have been teaching IBDP for almost 20 years now. And stress in a Southeast Asian country is something that is very relatable to all of us, because we are very well-meaning teachers and very well-meaning parents, and we all want our genius babies to perform to the best of our abilities. We are never happy when we hear that my son has got 98%, because my next question is, what was the highest in the class? And if 98% is not the highest, then we are not happy. We are never happy. All right. So stress is something that an educator in the subcontinent and in Asia discover very early on in life. With that, we are trying our best to alleviate those stress levels in school, in the classroom, as well as outside the classroom. So let's see what we can make out of that in today's panel discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Don't know how to beat that. But hi, I'm Dr. Samira. I'm a counseling psychologist. I've been working in the education field for 20 years and plus. That tells you my age, but whatever. So I've been working more on with children, what they carry in their minds, more than what they're carrying on their scorecards in school or what they're carrying out in life. It's their minds, what they're working on, what is it that they carry in their minds is what I've been studying. And, we've all got here discussing before we came up on the panel, and we said, I am an excellent example of somebody who should be knowing that. I have a 22-year-old who dropped out of the education system. My only son walked up to me one day and said, "The school is wasting my time. Can you take me out of it?" I said, "No, absolutely not." He said, "Good." He walked up to his principal, said, "You're wasting my time. Your teachers are wasting my time. Call my mother, ask her to take me out." And that actually happened. That happened. He dropped out. So everybody, like she said, "Wow, your son's a dropout. You're a single parent. Well, that girl didn't go down well." But today, he's completed his education, his graduation. He's in the hospitality sector. A big fight for him because his father was an IITN in India. I hope that was in the Asian countries, being an engineer, being an IIT, oh, big. His uncles, his aunts, all doing very well, PhDs, his granddad a PhD on this platform, and he wanted to do hospitality. And he was like, "Can I?" I'm like, "If that's what you want." Did I fail as a parent or did I not? I have no idea. I think my son will live to tell that story, but I'm proud. He's right now in Gurgaon, living on his own in Delhi, India, and doing very, very well as an intern with one of the best. Thank you. So I think this is a topic we all today relate to, and I'm sure each one of us sitting there is going to relate to. Let's understand what pressure is today, yeah? Let's discuss it. I don't think we're here to, tell you what pressure is, but I think we'd like to discuss it, yeah? Right, so thank you so much for having me here.
Okay, so, well, as an educator personally, and once upon a time a student, currently, no, I just graduated I just completed my master's. So what I personally feel that parent pressure, peer pressure, it's something that revolves around us on a daily basis. As a teacher, I see two spectrum of parents. One that pressurize their kids to know all. Another one is, it's okay, as long as my child is having fun, he or she is learning. That is something that you see. And competition among kids, especially when, and to be very honest, I think it's also relatable to parent pressure. When kids are challenging among themselves, who's going to be better, who's doing better. So it is something we see every day in school when we teach. We see among students going through stress, not sharing their scores, complaining that this person tries to peep into my marks. So that shows how much pressure kids go through, So we'll start by asking, Samita first, okay? So we all know that parental pressure is often viewed negatively. So do you think there's any circumstances which it can play a constructive or motivating role in a child's development?
Allow me to first to speak to the audience here. How many of you here are parents? Can I have a show of hands? Wonderful. How many of you want the best for your kids? We all do. We all do. We are all loving, well-meaning parents. And yet we make mistakes. That's the conundrum. We all want our kids to do well. So we set up good examples, and it's not a crime, right? As parents, that's one of our responsibilities to want our children to shine in life, to be successful. It's absolutely on, but look at the positives, because whenever we say parents want their children to do well, somewhere, with that word pressure, there is a negativity attached to it. It's like automatically latched to it. But look at the positives, If I am a moderate parent, if I am a well-meaning parent, and I am encouraging my son and daughter to do well, what am I achieving? I'm achieving for them, or they are achieving, because of the meaningful dialogue that we are having at home, they are achieving good academic standards. They are learning strong work ethics. They are, setting goals for themselves. And through those goals, they are learning the meaning of self-esteem. They are learning perseverance. All that is very good. But to do that, we need, as I said at the beginning, we need to set up good examples. We need to set up meaningful standards that are achievable. We have to show them unconditional love. We cannot define success narrowly. We have to tell them, and the most important thing is, we cannot make our love conditional based on their achievements. You do well, I'll give you a gift. You do well, then a Disneyland trip is on the cards, is not the way forward. We have to make them understand that just as a parent, my job is to make them do well, is to give them all kinds of resources. Similarly, their job is to put in their best foot forward, is to do the best they can. It may not be the first in class, and as parent, I have to acknowledge that, accept that, and still give them unconditional love. But most of us don't. Most of us, when it comes to our own parents in our own backyard, we forget it. We create undue pressure on them. We treat a Harvard application or a Princeton application as a do or die thing. We don't tell them that, look, put in your effort, give it a shot. If it happens, very good. If it doesn't happen, it's all right. We do not say that. And that is why the so-called loving, well-meaning parents do not realize how much pressure we are creating on the kids, how much stress we ourselves are generating, not just for them, for us as well. We don't realize that. And that's the problem, because the entire intention backfires then. Trust me, I understand that we all mean well for our children. And as I said, the positive, positive parenting will create pressure, but it's a moderate pressure. It's a relatively doable pressure, manageable pressure that all children must have. They need to be disciplined also. I just can't let them, without discipline. That's bad parenting. That's what I mean by positive pressure. Thanks, Simran.
Well, honestly, I can actually relate to what you just shared. As a student, as an individual, I came from a background where both my parents are not highly educated. So, given that, the pressure and actually people in my family, from my father's generation, or even my cousins, majority of them are not highly educated. So from there, the pressure to make my parents proud, the pressure my parents has given to some extent is to keep pushing me to do better. Yes, at some point I felt overwhelmed, but to think about it now, I do appreciate their pressure. So it's good and bad at the same time. It really pushes back to how the child takes it and how the parents deliver the motivation, or what we call pressure now. Okay, so let's come back to Ms. Thuraya. So how can we balance parental pressure involvement with peer influence to support students or children's well-being?
Of course, the pressure is there at both sides. The kids or our children are raised up having two worlds. The first world is their inner house, where they live with their parents and siblings, and outside their house where they have their peers, their friends, their neighbors, their teachers, people outside their house circle. And both, of course, they have to be the places where the child feels safe and protected. The well-being of the child needs to be felt safe in there. However, in most families, especially the part where I come from, I think we have common thing in here about the pressure of parents. My mom she has been all her life a teacher, and of course, the children of a teacher cannot be less than herself. She always has high expectations for them. So like, I am a teacher, you cannot fail in this, you cannot fail in that, you cannot go choose the humanitarian side, you have to choose mathematics or science because you are the daughter of a teacher. This is what we always hear from our parents. Imagine the pressure that we felt when we were teenagers, and instead of enjoying our life, instead of thinking about ourselves blooming and getting mature, we only put all the thoughts of, in our thoughts, we always have this in our mind that, all right, I need to please my mom, I need to please my dad, I need to feel safe because I please them, not because they accept me the way as I am. So here we're talking about our personal experiences in life, and I'm pretty sure that many of you has experienced this, or maybe you are trying to let your kids be something that you want. It's not our role to let our kids be what we want. Our role is to facilitate life for them, help them to get what they need in order to choose what they want in life, no matter what it is. The role of parents is better to be involvement. If I translate it in a different way, we prefer that parents have involvement part in the life of their kids instead of pressure with them. The parents, when they, for us as educators, like, part of our job is to also collaborate with the parents to help them understand the meaning of involvement, the meaning of having their kids in their life as not prisoners, the meaning of having their kids as people who are individuals, have their own needs, have their own dreams. It's not our part to dream instead of them. They are the dreamers. We are the one to facilitate this dream to become true for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Turaya. Okay, let's move on to Dr. Sumira. So how do you think the gap between the world parents remember and the world children can actually live in shape the pressure young people experience today?
Very interesting, actually, you know. If you remember our childhood, I don't think our parents were interested in us. Mine were definitely not. Our parents were busy getting the food on the table. Our parents had a life. We were just the extra baggage. Come to today's time, our children, yeah, exactly. Our children, they are our focus. They are our project. Our identities are tied to them. Just like she said, you got a 98%. Where did the 2% go? What was the highest? Your dad's an IIT, and are you going to be an actor, a singer? What is wrong with you? Is that going to get you a livelihood? Let him figure it out. Over lunch, I met a gentleman, and I was just telling with him, we were discussing, and I told him, I said, we have earned so much for our children, we've made them no voices. Don't worry, we have enough in the bank balance for you. Don't worry, you can fly business class. Would our parents do that? Absolutely not. That's where pressure comes from. And something very interesting is, I said, my son had pressure because he had an educated, or he has an educated family. Her pressure came from not having an educated family. Now let's divide children's pressure into 3 sectors. One that comes from their homes. one that comes from the social circle, and one that comes from schools. Now tie up the social circles and schools together, because schools are no longer schools. Schools are again Instagram, social media, how good you look. Were you good enough? Can you speak well? Can you express yourself well? I remember in one of the earlier sessions, someone said, it's so important for me to express myself well. Yes, it is. But does not mean, was I an excellent orator in school? Who knows? I can say I was amazing, but do you really know the story? No, but I'm an excellent orator today. So the whole thing is, parents are not wrong. They are coming from their experience. They're steering from their experience. But remember, our children are living in this world. We believe we know their world, and so we're giving them advice from our world. But they are steering a completely different world, which we have no idea about. I could be the coolest mom for every relative in my family except for my son. His constant statement to me is, you don't know how that works, Mom. So, really? I thought I did. But no, clearly not. So understand, pressure for these children is the constant likes, the constant pressure of FOMO. I learned that word, FOMO, fear of missing out, they say. Yeah, fear of missing out. But my only fear of missing out would be when I was growing up was to go down and miss playing football with my friends or miss one of the walks. But their fear is so different. So you have to understand, parents aren't wrong. It's not fair to say they're wrong. But like she correctly said, we have to learn to give them, or what she said, we have to learn to give them their steering wheel. Let them decide for themselves. Pressure, whether we like it or not. From today morning, we've been discussing AI. Pressure is there. AI just came to us. It launched. We slept one day night. The next day morning, AI was in our faces. I mean, we don't know. Our children are looking up to us for advice, or they're not. But we're telling them, we are parents, you better listen to us and do what? We don't know. I don't know what to do with AI. And we're still giving them advice. So I think the middle ground would be to steer, let them take the navigation and be coaches in their life. So I think we divide them into 3 groups, and then you see how they go. The pressure is everywhere. It's not easy being a child in today's world. Pressure is for them in all different corners, everywhere they go, the way they look, what they say with their peers in school. I think it's everywhere. Yep.
Yes, I actually do agree with that, because honestly, I think it's something that every parents and every child experience. When parents put a certain amount of pressure, it's based on their personal experience, based on what they have been through, the kind of struggles they have gone through, the kind of expectation they had. And eventually, yes, it also puts on some pressure to the child. But at some point, I also think parents realize that, hey, I think I can let them be, because I experienced that myself throughout my whole life. I've had different career goals. Like I did diploma in farm sciences, degree in accountancy, and just completed masters in education. And in the past 10 years, I found my comfort zone, which is education. So with that different transition, it has put my parents into like, what do you want?
Yeah.
But at some point, they understand and they let me pursue my own path of life. So I think it takes time for parents, but yes, they will get there eventually.
If I may just add, it's like the child is living 3 identities right now. At home, he needs to be the carrier of the family name, so being the good child, the legacy, as we call it, yeah? In the social, they need to be up with the times that they're going right now, so completely likable, do whatever it is. And in school, it's performance. 1 child, 3 identities. We're expecting them to be the best of every version of themselves. How do you do that? If you ask me to do it, I'll say, my God, I'm tired, I'm burnt out. But for the kids, we expect them to do that. We absolutely do.
Yes, agreed. All right, Miss Ute. So how do you think parental pressure versus peer pressure relates to you?
Yes, thank you for this question, because to come to my studio for the kids or even for the youngsters is an invitation to come to a stress-free space. This is what I create for them in my rooms. My rooms are a sheltered room, and it's like a time out for the kids or for the youngsters. And I have certain rules in my studios. The first is what you are doing here and what we are doing here is a kind of non-invasive painting. Non-invasive. This is very important because adults have a certain convictions how pictures have to be. But in my studios, pictures can be painted from the kids in their way. There are no good, no sad, no bad pictures. It's your picture, and you are in charge for your picture. So I can be your companion. I can assist you, but you are in charge for your picture. And there is, it's like a lesson, trust the process. Sometimes the kids start with a picture, say, no, I would like to start with a new one. No, go on with your picture. In the end, all and everything will be good and you will have a very good result. And it's always like this. And this has to do, in the end, what they gain in my studio is self-esteem, yes. And afterwards, let me say we have 3 or 4 sessions, and in the last session, we honor our results and our pictures, and we talk about them, yes. And they can decorate it with stone, with hearts, with feathers, and all those things. And then we talk about what was difficult, what was a challenge, what was an obstacle, yes, to go on. And you can imagine what happens with a picture is, in most cases, what happens in their true life, what is difficult. And even its painting, it gives young people a voice. And it's when they're missing the language and can't pronounce what they feel, what they think, what is difficult just in their life, they will express it with their paintings. And in the end, I ask them, and what's about the title of your picture? And the titles are self-explaining, yes, difficult task, challenges, or my grandma, my parents, or whatever it is. So I made very good experiences for the pupils, and I have a lot of parents who are very grateful because the kids get access to their own feelings and can express by the pictures they produce by themselves their inner feelings. This is one matter of my work, and the other is this therapeutic and creative writing. And there have sessions about, let me say, 1.5 hours, and we start with writing. Maybe at the next question, I will talk about this therapeutic writing, and you can now go on with your questions. I have a lot to report, definitely.
Okay, Samita. So, to what extent you think excessive parental pressure can affect a child's mental health, and what signs should families be attentive to? Because I think, honestly, at some point, even parents don't realize that, or parents are not able to catch hold of when they should be worried that their child going through a lot at the moment, or can their child still handle the pressure?
So, let me tell you a small story. My parents both were quite educated. Mum was a professor of literature, and my father was the typical engineer, but a doctorate. So naturally, ever since I was born, I was made to feel that I have to be this prodigal daughter. All right, I cannot afford to fail. That's a strict no-no. That's non-negotiable. Failure is non-negotiable. But the problem was I was extremely average. below average also, you could say, in science and mathematics. Numbers did not talk to me. Words did not, floor me. I was extremely average. So the next problem was, but my parents wanted me to be a doctor. Even before I could develop my own, forte in life, it was decided that my daughter is going to study mathematics and sciences and biology. And since there are no doctors in the family, she has to, go and study medicine. Nobody bothered to ask me what I wanted to do. All right, the fact that, literature attracted me, I wanted to study it, I wanted to study for fun, for enjoyment, that was never a concern. All right. And naturally, I went into medical school 3 days. Exactly 3 days I attended medical school. Finally, I came back and I said, I cannot tolerate that stench there. If I am forced to become a doctor, I'm going to kill people. All right? And I'm going to end up in jail. So forget it, please let me study whatever I want to study. And the parents relented, but rather unhappily. They were not happy about it. But I know what I went through. Because my parents wanted to project their dream onto me, without even finding out whether I was capable of living that dream or achieving that dream or not, it created undue pressure, depression, erratic behavior, unnecessary rebellion. All right, I have been through that myself. Whatever my parents would expect, I'll just do the opposite. Because, just to irritate them, just to, prove a point, just to have a score. And erratic behavior is one. No, I didn't go till that extent, thank God. But yes, I have seen my students go for that underage drinking, truancy, bunking of classes, unnecessary, confrontation with the teachers, all of that. And they are doing it because nobody is willing to listen to them. They are doing it out of sheer frustration. So these are really the telltale signs. And if you give me just 30 seconds, Persim, about 2 to 3 years back, I had a student got into one of the most coveted universities in England, and 6 months left for his national service to finish. He jumped from the 40th story and finished himself, just because his only complaint, grievance was that nobody understood him. So yes, there are extreme penalties to pay if we don't listen to our kids. Thank you. Over to you.
Yeah, I guess communication is really a key. Parents have to constantly sit down with their child and check on them from time to time. Okay.
Sometimes ask them what they want.
Yep. True. Sorry. Okay. So, Miss Samira. Yeah. So, what happens to a child's psychology when they must switch identities to survive at home, online, school worlds that don't emotionally align?
What do you think happens when one child is asked to live 3 different identities? Anxiety, disorder, depression, yeah? And in today's age, somebody on the stage before us, the gentleman said, AI becomes your best friend. Why do you think children move to or are scrolling so much, are moving towards AI so much? It's because AI, when I say AI, I mean every form of AI, whether it is social media, whether it is whatever form you take, is not going to question your thoughts. It's going to agree. I want a suicide. Okay, let's find out ways to do it. I want to be a doctor. Okay, let's find out ways to do it. It's easy. It's like having a remote control. I can watch what I want to. No one to tell me what not to do it. So that is what the pressure does to you, you know. I don't think the question over here is which pressure is worse, parental or social. I think the question really should be, we should really be asking ourselves is, what it is that we need to do to take away the pressure if we can, or how can we help our children manage the pressure, because the pressure is there, whether it was from her childhood which had no AI and to the childhood today which has so much of pressure. Harvard seems to be like the ultimate thing ever. If my child didn't, you know, we were flying here and there was this lovely couple sitting in the front over there, two completely different people having a conversation with each other. My child went to a college and my child is living in Singapore right now and my child is doing that. I'm thinking, oh, but my child is only in India right now, so am I a good parent? Am I socially acceptable? Of course I am. So I think what we need to really ask ourselves is, did our identity matter to our parents? Did not to mine at all. Mine said, achieve what you want to. I am who I am. So my father was who he was. My mother is who she is. And I am what I am. Do we let children today be that? We've made our children our mini projects. I repeat that, you know. And mini projects have side effects. Every mini project will have a side effect. So depression, drinking. We think they're being stubborn. No, they're not. They're not. We as parents don't understand their world. They're trying to tell us, you don't understand our world. I think as parents, it's time for us to understand we don't understand their world. We really don't. Their, let's say, their complications, their challenges are far different. I don't know. Do you remember going to school wearing the same uniform? But today, even uniform has become a challenge for children. Obese, body shaming. We were fine with all of that. Do you remember? We just wore our sneakers, we just ran across and played. Today, the only friends children have are online. And what are online friends? Some that you've never seen, some that you've never met. So many incidences where you've never met the person, you've never seen the person, becomes your best friend, you want to go marry. We've heard such horror stories of it. So I think depression, anxiety, all of this is going to increase in the times to come. We need to change our questions. We need to stop comparing pressures, which one is worse than the other. We need to ask ourselves, what can we do to make the world a little more safer for our children who, as it is going to live a life, we have no idea what it feels like because we didn't live that when we were growing up.
I think we can ask the parents here in the room.
Yes.
How can they help in this? Like how, when they face such situations with their parents or educators with their kids, we would love to hear ideas from you because we are here to share all together.
We have a couple of them who would love to share. Yeah, could somebody hand them a mic, please?
Can anyone please hand that mic?
Excuse me? Somebody, I hand them a mic.
Because we're here all to share our ideas.
So I think it's a very relevant discussion, not just from an educator perspective, but from parental perspective as well. I come from Singapore, and I have a 15-year-old boy. I just wanted to share one specific thing that I actually discussed with my wife once. Why is the reason that we put pressure? I grew up in India. I had pressure on me because if I did not do well in my studies, I would basically not be able to secure a job. Everything cascaded into it, and effectively the pressure piled up. Most parents don't understand that in order for somebody to succeed in future, especially in this AI-driven age, you need to understand what kind of jobs will there be in future. You don't know that. So what are you preparing them for by putting pressure on them? Secondly, you also don't realize that the CEOs of the future will actually be like them, digital natives rather than digital immigrants like us. So they will actually be much more in tune with this generation than with us. So what are we preparing them for? We don't even know what we need to prepare them for. So as I explained to my wife and we discussed, the only thing that we can provide is life values and our experiences. Kind of a pathway saying this is how we went down. Maybe your path will be different, but most likely the obstacles that you will face will be similar in nature. And this is how we went through the obstacles and eventually reached a destination that we are at. You might reach another destination, but the way to tackle obstacles may not change dramatically, but the obstacles that you face might be different. Other than that, I cannot tell my son who's trained to be a lawyer whether AI will take up his job, what kind of a law firm will he face in future, who will be his employers. All that is completely unknown to me. So how can I put pressure on him, and on what way can I put pressure on him? That is the biggest problem with parents, because they think that whatever they know is applicable in this day and age, and it is not. Especially not in this day and age, and not even in future. So why are we then trying to tax ourselves by saying we know what is the future? We don't. So let's try and give them values, foundational values, which will eventually help them in future. That's all. Yeah, thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah, please.
How many of your peers, they are also parents?
Yes.
All right. How many of your peers think like you?
Right. So this is a good question in terms of the fact that how many people think like me. The challenge is it's not really the parents who are thinking differently. It is the children who are actually starting to get together and ask each other, how do you manage your parents? That is where the future is going. The parents are not talking to each other. The children are talking to each other, and they are managing to school the parents going forward. If we are not sure about it or we are not careful, we'll get schooled by our children very soon. Yeah.
Because if all parents thought like that, sir, our job would be easier.
Absolutely. 100%. Absolutely. I fully agree. Thank you.
I think we have to go ready.
Hi, I'm Kapil. This is just as a parent. I'm not an educationist, but just as a parent, see what happens is rather than putting pressure on the children, it is more of parents' own pressure which they are putting on the children. Because in this today's age, we have so many options, and every parent is conscious about whether I'm giving the right thing to my child or not. And they are in a sort of competition to face the world saying that I have given or I have done the best for my child. And that is where the pressure comes to the child as well. And secondly, I was hearing one of the conversations for the founders downstairs. There, one of the speakers was speaking about who is the founder. And that is a very important aspect, that each child, when he or she is born, there are so many possibilities that child can do. But we are in a race where we want to train our child to become or to get a certain job. But it is not about preparing your child to get a job. It is about making him unemployable. Right? When he is unemployable and he has skills, that is when he'll be able to do what he wants to do. And that is what is more important. That will open more avenues for him to do what he wants to do. And that will probably make, I don't know how one defines success, but that will make him happier human being who will be able to do more for the society than any of the child who is pressured to get good grades or study well or get a certain degree. That's my submission. Thank you.
Actually, yes, I completely agree. You know, just before our panel discussion was happening, Pamela from Puzzle Box was talking about the dopamines and the serotonins. We need that in our children, in ourselves, you know. We have made them forget their childhood, to be very honest. Schools are pressurizing, parents are pressurizing, which brings us to the next thing, the peers. they are equally pressurizing. So, we need those dopamines and the serotonin levels to go up. We need to maintain that it's all right to make mistakes and to learn from the mistakes, and not to attach too much importance in everything and anything. Keep it simple at times, probably works out.
Yes.
I would like to have, I have something to add. I think it has to do with the acceleration we learn at the moment with AI, with new developments and so on. And we would like to have our kids competitive, yes, that they got jobs, that they have good jobs, that they are part of the society. And this is, I think, what we have in mind as parents. But the other side is, how do the kids feel, yes? And I think it's very important to listen to them. What have our kids to tell us? And maybe this isn't sometimes really overseen, that we do not listen to our kids. And this is why I mentioned my methods. I have still to mention with the painting or with the writing, to give them a voice, to have access the kids to their own, and we as parents or educator to the kids. I think this is very, very important. Kids should not be overseen in this, what we as parents, as teachers, as educators want.
Yeah, so I just want to add, as educators, from the educator's point of view, that we see students have pressure from parents, they have pressure from peers. So what can educators do? One of the viewpoint is, why don't we bring the parents and the peers together to coordinate so that each of them understand their viewpoint? So any tips that you could give, like how can...
I'll tell you what will happen, and it usually happens, is the parents will end up blaming the peers and the peers will end up blaming the parents.
Yeah, I kind
Mostly. I think Persim will agree with
yeah,
me.
because, honestly, if you're talking about peers, usually we're talking about child to child, not parent to parent, right? So, child pressure comes from where? From home, right? So when they're competing with each other in school, why? Because they are being pressured from home, correct? So if you're going to put another child's parents with their friend, I do not think it will help, because it'll be like, I want my child to be better than you, which will add more pressure. I think personally as teacher, we need to, or as educator, I think it's more of us assuring the child, that it's okay, you're still learning. Like I've had students, 9-year-old, breaking down just because the child makes a tiny mistake. That's how much pressure they go through, And being, instead of being in grade 4, they're in grade 5 because the parents pressurize them academically so much that academic-wise, they are a year ahead, but emotional-wise, they are not. They are not up to the grade that they need to be. So this pressure, personally, I feel that as educator, or what we can do is we need to keep assuring them that they are still learning. It's okay. Like they can take a sit back, slow down, learn, relax, don't compete. Just compete with yourself instead of competing with others.
There is another thing that educators need to create a personal relation. When I say personal, I don't mean personal, but they need to create a one-on-one relationship with all their children. They need to give that reassurance that it is an open environment where the open communication and dialogue can happen. That the child can come up to the educator without the fear of judgment and talk openly about the problems, about the grievances, about the misgivings, If that happens, then at least to some degree, we can tell them various ways to say no, various ways to wriggle out of a delicate situation. All right, sensitive situation, senior offering a glass of alcohol to the child. What do? You want to have it because then you will be cool. You will be part of that, popular crowd. On the other hand, you know that your belief system that you have been taught at home tells you, no, this is a bad idea. So how to step away delicately from that situation? Okay, educators can teach you anecdotal experiences. Educators can share with the child just to reassure them that you are not the only one. We have also been in your shoes. We have been through these phases. We have been through these situations, and we have learned how to come out of it, and we will teach you how to do that. But that is not possible unless an open communication happens and a dialogue is established.
I will add here that the core of our job is to create an inclusive environment inside our classes where everyone feels that they belong. Part of our job is to teach the kids how to be resilient inside their environment when specific situations, when they face specific situations. Give them the tools, give them the strategies, help them by providing them with all these tools that they need, because those are life skills. It's not only about academics, it's about the life skills that they need when they grow up with their environment all around. So big part of our job is to teach them resilience, teach them how to listen to the no and reply to the no in a different way, how to be patient, how to think before they act, the breathing exercises, the mindfulness, all these things is part of us also. We need to teach the kids inside the classroom how to use these tools.
Yeah, and if I could add on also, just a small personal experience. When I was in school, I had this particular teacher who, on purpose, makes minor mistakes and let us spot his mistakes. And with that, he reminds us that it's okay. We make mistakes, we learn from it, we correct it, and it's okay to acknowledge your mistakes. So that practice, that experience I had with my teacher, I apply that in my classes quite frequent, even now, because I feel that it's very important for kids to understand that it's okay to make mistakes, because they're so pressured to perfection that they realize that even a small mistake it's huge. It's a huge thing for them. So they need to feel that safe space, that it's okay to make mistakes, it's okay to spot mistakes, it's okay to learn from mistakes as well. And if we give that safe space among the kids, I feel that we can also help support the parents by keeping them updated that your child is going through this kind. Maybe you want to check in with them from time to time. We can't tell the parents what to do because most parents are not agreeable to that portion. But we can give parents hints or share with them what the child is going through in school so that they can do their own homework when the child goes home.
Yeah. So I was, talking similar kind of thing in the first session also. See, my experience is that since this COVID has happened, the students have learned in a different way. The way, they suddenly got access to technology. They suddenly became, tech savvy at a younger age, right? So I have also seen that students today, because of that kind of exposure or because of different other pressures, they have gone into their silos. They have started behaving in a way that, okay, I don't need you anymore because everything else is available to me. Why you are required in my world? At the same time, we are also, as parents, the generation probably who have seen no AI, nothing, no internet also. So probably we are in the transition, right, as a parent. So we find that, okay, we need to deliver some values to these guys. They should know these things. Probably they may not even say good morning today, right? So we are in that age, where we want to impart them good values, good stuff, maybe, good resilience, personality that they should have. At the same time, they don't need us. They don't want us, in their world. So how, we, balance, probably, I tried certain things myself also. So sometimes, we have to get vulnerable, you have to expose, okay, we've been in this kind of situation. And sometimes you have to also say that, okay, this is not the thing. So you have to be very strong, okay, this is not allowed to, whatever happens. Because the moment we leave that control, then they will never, respect us anymore. So I think, my proposal is that, as a parent, we have to be somewhere in between that, like a tight and a, soft and a tight kind of person, right?
You have to strike a balance.
Yes, yes.
That's the only way.
Yes.
But you can't keep, you can't stop talking to them. You have to keep that
we
channel
have to,
of conversation
yes,
open.
we
They may
have-
not respond to you, but you still need to continue that. Maybe after series of good mornings, one day they'll say, Father, I had lavender ice cream and I loved it.
Yes, yes. So this is the kind of exactly the experience that I am kind of having, and I think even I am into education, so I teach also. So I have taken that liberty to make it like a system, like okay, let them come to a stage where they can appreciate that whatever we have been doing was kind of right, but probably they didn't have some knowledge to accept at that point, but probably they are starting to accept and appreciate that now. And maybe we need to bombard them, not like with the pressure, but with the right things that are right forever. So you don't bombard, like okay, you do this, that, but at least you say that this is something that you're not supposed to do. Whatever else, we can discuss, right? Like that.
If I can add on to what I feel that, though I'm not a parent, but what I feel that what parents, yes, I do agree now with AI, with devices, with digital, with technology these days, kids think that they know it all and they can get the answer for everything.
Yeah.
But what I feel is that's not true, because computer is made from whom? Human being. Knowledge that the AI gets is from who? From human being. Correct? So it's not entirely perfect. But what I think is that if parents from time to time can sit down, have discussion with their kids, throw them questions for them to think about, find out, and then get back to you with answers, I think that would actually initiate or incultivate good discussions at home. That would still help in the connection between the child and parents.
I would like to add something in matters of therapeutic writing. So what we learned, our kids nowadays are enormously under pressure, but there is another thing. The brain is fired steadily with news and with voices and what all. He says this, she says that, and my parents and my teachers and so on. And I think it's absolutely necessary that young people are able to clarify their thoughts, because they are so enormously influenced by so much voices that I think sometimes, how can they have clear thoughts? Yeah. Yes. And I find out in my sessions for this creative writing that they can focus, and I will explain how it works. I give them writing exercises for, let me say, 20 minutes. And my topics are, let me say, adapted to the age of the kids. And one I prefer, because I find out the young people like it very much, write about chocolate. And they tell me, write about chocolate? Yes, it's very interesting. When did you get your first chocolate? Was it, I'm from Germany, was it at Christmas, was it at Easter, was it dark chocolate, was it milky chocolate? What do you like most? Are you such quick eater, or do you like it more slowly? Do you put the chocolate into the fridge and so on? And then chocolate is a very interesting topic for all the kids. They start writing. And after 20 minutes, the kids who would like can read it to the others. And then we talk about one topic. Yes, and they say goodbye to all this, what is firing the brain all the day, and we start talking about chocolate. And everybody has made experience with chocolate, and I'm sure the audience and we as well. And you have things in your mind. Yes, exactly, this very moment. I have a writing exercise. What would I do if I could do what I want? This is very interesting. And then you experience and then you learn a lot about the personality, about the inner problems of the kid, and so on. And this is a method I can really tell you is so, so helpful. It needs additional time, but to come, for instance, in my studio for painting or for writing is so helpful because the kids go home in a good mood, relieved, and so on, because still it's a sheltered room without any assessment, no evaluation. All and everything what you do is, okay, you can trust, and me as your teacher trust to the process, and there are no grades and so on. And this is very, very helpful.
Hello. I want to share something like this is a very interesting topic, mental health and stress. I am Prajakti Gokhale from Pune and working with all age groups for last 25-30 years. So I have seen generation of parents actually, and especially today's generation of parents. They are very busy that they want to fill the calendar of their children. Like there has to be one music class, there has to be one yoga class, there has to be one creative writing class, there has to be one maths class. So there is no space in the entire calendar to get bold, to think, to reflect, to create. Even though just play with as simple as a simple wooden tool or is simple sofa, he just sits on the sofa and just plays with something very simple toy or creates its own puzzle or creates some type of a clay toy or anything like that. We don't give space. We don't give space to get them bored. And that is my biggest problem now, that I don't get kids who are not at all occupied mentally with something. And I want children who are having their complete mentally, they should be blank so that I can give them some interesting thing to think about, to work on it, to explore about it, to connect dots, to connect different subjects with each other and create something amazing out of it, which teachers also sometimes not able to do because of our judgmental thinking, because of the way we have been raised up in our education system. So I think all educators, we should think seriously and ponder on these points, that how can we give creative space, which is itself is a stress busters to students. So I think
that the parents do that because they don't have time for the kids themselves. So they kind of fill up their calendar just to, kind of out of a sense of guilt also. That, okay, I am not able to, but I'll make sure he does not have any, time to spare, he's not bored.
Maybe, yes, but I think it also has to do a lot with the peer pressure of parents.
Yeah.
Your child can play the guitar, mine not. You can see, and mine isn't. Oh my God. So
Yes.
when you talk about your children's pressure, it's come from the parents. I believe we parents have created the pressure today. I think when my cousin was very young, so my brother was the first one to go to the US study. I think when he learned to play the guitar or learned to sing, because he enjoyed doing that. There's a ways the children what we tell our children, go and learn the guitar because you should be able to play one instrument, one game, one indoor game, one outdoor game, do your extempo, be a good public speaker. It's not about the child, it's about the parents. We have created the pressures today and we are dealing with the results. We're leaving a world for our children where they're going to be so clueless of who they are. I think our kids are looking for a space where they can identify themselves and figure out who they are. We need to ask ourselves, where is that place where they can be themselves and be okay with themselves? And I don't think that place exists today.
Yes, this was a problem when I started with my sessions for kids. Yes, it's good for nothing or something. Yes, is it a painting lesson where they learn how to deal with color with a brush and so? No, it's intuitive painting as well. Is it a language course to get better in the German language? No, it is about your feelings, about certain subject referring to your kid. And some parents were open and the kids come still, and others came because they learned from the other. This is very helpful and has a positive impact to all other things. Yes, to the feelings of the kid, to be more content, to be more concentrated. And so lots of kids came to my studio, but in the beginning it was exactly that what you mentioned, because parents want to have results and have to that the kids are getting better in a certain subject and so on. But this is personal growth. They grow personal, the kids, and this is very important beyond of all what is around them. Mm-hmm. And give them opportunities and space and place. Yes.
Thank you very much. And honestly, this is an endless discussion. But let's wrap it up with one question that we can, for each of us, that we can put up to everyone to think about. From me would be, I'll start with the question first. Does parents tend to overcompensate their child when it comes to the pressure?
For me, I don't want to ask a question. I just want to give like a takeaway, which is I would love that everyone thinks about it. Please think of the strengths of your kids. Do not work on comparing them to others. Your kid is your kid. The love to your kid should be unconditional. Show them their strengths. Let them work on them. Thank you.
What would I recommend? I would say create for your kids space for their own creativity, and best would be without any stress.
Just assure them that it's all right to make mistakes, and grant them the freedom to explore healthy risks.
And I'll just end by saying, if we want to change the pressure that is on our children, we don't start with the children. We need to start with the parents. Let them fail. It's important. Let them fall down. Let them get bored. Let's go back to our childhood. Remember, we are surviving because our parents were not interested in us and we had no choice. Today, they don't have a choice because we're giving them everything. So thank you so much for having us here.
Thank you so much, ladies. Fantastic. Please stand up, have your photo.